happy about that. Me, I think relationships are wonderful. My friend even said the other time that she thinks I'm a better person when I'm in a relationship.
None of them are going to. I don't think I'm probably dead as far as that concerned. I'm joking. I wouldn't go that far. But
because every relationship is a lesson, and every relationship teaches you about yourself. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out in these past relationships, as I said, that I fell in love with. What was the point of that? But maybe, hopefully, by the 31st of December, because after that, I'm not thinking about it.
Is it? Oh, why are you putting that on?
Hi, it's Sips.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I am Bonga, and you are listening to and watching
the Unintentional Podcast. Bonga is going to excuse himself today because he's recovering.
Yeah, from the influenza. But hopefully I'll be back up and running again very soon. So enjoy the episode, guys.
Okay, and today we're here with the wonderful Pretty Olifant. Welcome to Unintentional Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. So I basically saw you, I think it was the time when you were having an event at the old prison and you were running around and people were like, "Sis Pretty, Sis Pretty." And I was like, "Ubalo Sis Pretty," that everyone is talking about. And then we met again at the digital media training. And then, I just heard more about you, what you do. But for anyone out there, obviously, who doesn't know, who is Pretty Olifant?
Well, firstly, Pretty Olifant, Ukajin, Bongo, Boya Benyas, Uzingelwai. The blood that runs through my veins. And that's why I'm very proud Black woman, very proud woman of Umguni descendant. You know, I love my history, I love my Black people, I love my community. And somebody that also just believes, Uguti, if I can do my little bit in my little corner, the world might be better.
So when we were at the training, you were speaking more about, your new song, I think. So you called Pretty and the Music. How did you come up with that name?
Actually, it's because I started off my artistry journey through poetry, writing specifically, and then became a poetry performer after. And then when I married it with music, because it was Pretty the poet, so I then decided to say and the music. A lot of people think that Pretty and the Music is the band, but no, it's me, but I do play with the band, but Pretty and the Music is just me.
Okay, and take us through your journey, because I saw that you studied brand marketing in Joburg. What made you decide to move back here and do your music here?
Okay, I left straight after high school, and I studied at Wits. Wits gave me the edge of studying BCom, but it was definitely not what I should be studying. So I left that and I went to study at Triple School of Advertising, and that's where I found my niche finally. And I really appreciated bumping into marketing communications or brand management because I'm such a scatterbrain and I get bored really easily. So to find a career where I could work across industries was pretty exciting for me. After working for a while in the corporate sector, I decided to start my own company, which is called Toffee Communications. It's a marketing communications agency which specializes in brand management because that's what I specialized in at AAA School of Advertising. And then after a while, we started getting a lot of work where we were doing creative exhibitions. We were doing a lot of work in the creative sector.
Yes.
So I started inviting my friends to my house for dinner.
Okay.
And after I'd fed them and before I gave them a top up on their refreshments, I'd open up my journal and they'd be the guinea pigs for my work, And when I grew up, I was in the choir at school, at church and all of that. So singing was my first love.
Okay.
But there was a time when I was singing, and I remember I was in primary school, if I wasn't mistaken. ngabhimba and ngendlela engihleka ngalo isonto. I was like, okay, I'm going to stick to reading and poetry, you know.
Yeah.
But then when I got older and I had the courage, I decided, you know what, let me actually go back to the music and marrying it then with poetry. So I decided to take the whole business through, because even when we were studying at AAA, a lot of my friends were excited about being brand managers for L'Oreal, being the strategist for Ogilvy or Jupiter Drawing Room. And I was like, I actually want to do something that makes a difference in people's lives instead of pushing product off shelf, you know. And that's where my love for coming together and collaborating began. So then came the concept of Kwasuka Sukele. Using Toffee Communications as the organization to then launch or propel this, which is a collective where we tell stories through art. We use storytelling, we use poetry, we use music, live performances, DJs, fashion, food, and acts of charity to be able to tell the stories and making the world a bit better. And through that work is how then I got the job to curate the Old Prison Nomalungelo Arts Festival. You know, it's one of those where it's really a give and take, because Kwasuka Sukele is a CSI project that I started just, you know, I even say sometimes when I joke that Toffee Communications was devoured by Kwasuka Sukele and I literally had to start again, you know. But it's helped me so much, because then it's given me a platform to be able to showcase my work and for people to know what I do, and over and above that to propel my musical and my artistic career. And after a while working in Joburg, you know, your parents get old. The worst is more figekaya of ubengathi izivakashi. Noma ngabe khulunywa ngezinto zomndeni, kukhulunywa kuthiwa hayi noma ngabe singavela uzobe ngekho, you know. And I love my grandmother to bits. She's 87 now, you know, and she was getting really, really old. And I just wanted to be close to her, because she has just been an angel in my life and supported me throughout. And I thought it was my turn to be able to do that. But also then the whole theme of trying to make the world a better place. I thought, come back home and plow back home, you know. And at first it was really, really challenging. Challenging from a family perspective, because they already had a job for me. You're a graduate, you quit your job that side, you know, you need to make money. So that was quite difficult. But what I did is when I left Joburg, I sold my car so that I was able to have cash. So that by the time that my career propels, then they've bought into the idea. And as it is now, my mom is my number one supporter. Anybody that works with me has seen my mom, because she's there, she's everywhere, she supports. You know, we do everything at her house, you know, even when, you know, she buys us full chickens from Woolies and she's on some, okay, I know you guys are trying, here's something to eat, you know. So she's highly supportive in that way, and I think it has just made us a whole lot stronger. The one thing that really disappoints me when it comes to Pietermaritzburg is we don't believe in ourselves as people of Maritzburg. You know, a lot of people were just asking me, what are you doing back here? You know, why are you back? You know, but sometimes I think the path less traveled is so sweet when you actually reap the fruits of your labor when it comes to that. So yeah, we making those trails bit by bit. You spoke about the digital training. That was also one that I was coordinating because I'm passionate about business, because I am a businesswoman. I'm also championing women in tourism. So we've got an event next week where we are inviting women within the business sector in Maritzburg to speak about challenges, to speak about solutions, you know, to motivate each other, especially because we know that when it comes to women in business, there's no border between your life and business. It is the same. You know, so it's important that we take care of ourselves, we self-love, you know, so that we're able to have a profitable business, because we are the number one assets, you know, and we work those assets to the bulk. So it's important that we're able to motivate each other, share with each other, share each other's experiences, because what happens is looking is really, really tough. Kodwa mase sengizwa istory sakho siswami ngithi hey yakunzima kodwa hayi ngathi kungcono kwami uyabona, those things help. Or kuthola ukuthi nami ngibhekana nalobo bumzima kodwa wena masusungitshela ukuthi hayi nami ngangibhekene nabo or something similar, and this is how I tackled it, you know, might even change my paradigm, you know, my approach towards tackling that problem. So I mean, I'm just very, very passionate, and because of the passion and using social media, it works a lot in terms of marketing. Then one is able to say, oh, I saw you curating that, or I saw you managing that project, please then also manage ours. And you know, and for me it's great because most of these people, the digital guys are from Cape Town, the Nomalungelo guys are from Joburg. So through the work that one is doing, we are actually now attracting projects to come to Maritzburg, which is awesome, because then we are able to get the value.
I think that's amazing, because also now you're in different provinces, so your work is just shining in every province basically.
Absolutely. Luckily so. I mean, I was lucky enough to be part of Meetings Africa this year as well, through TKZN, because they had a pavilion there. So we were able to actually have meetings or set up meetings with buyers from Japan, from Canada, from the US, from all over the world, you know, people that want to bring people, be it for business events or for social events, to come through to South Africa and specifically KwaZulu-Natal to be part of the culture, to learn and to grow. You know, so those are some of the works that we're doing, just hoping we can put Maritzburg on the map. Ngoba masaz kahle, masibona kahle, kuningi kabi abantu base Maritzburg that are just, you know, shining that flag, you know. So it's time for people to actually know ukuthi yabona laben babona qaqwa ngama baningi kabi bayinqaba ngeshumi.
Yes, yeah, in Maritzburg.
Yes.
So if someone has never heard your music or seen you perform, how would you describe your sound?
Oh, that's a very, very difficult question. It's a very difficult question because I'm a rebellion at heart, so I don't like to box myself in. So you understand, Indiama genres does that. I have been lucky enough, Uguti, there's something that they've themed world music. So Muntu just calls it that because it's just worldly. But it has ancestral sounds. Because I do believe Uguti imlayes or ipuma kwabagiti. You know, even when the poetry is written, I do feel like I'm possessed. Wow, you know, I'm just as shocked as the next person because I believe I'm just a channel. So through the music as well, sometimes it comes in notes, sometimes it comes in words, you know, and then I'll jot it down, and then afterwards, then I'll get the keyboardist doing sevens in aye, and then after that, snap band, but it usually comes. So ancestral sounds is definitely there. You can put some Afro, you know, but I'm also influenced by reggae music. I'm influenced by hip hop, but your conscious hip hop type of music. But also nomculo or jazz. Oh, I love my jazz. Yabo ngiyabathanda abantu bo Sophia Town or Midlands or Sibongile Khumalo Mambusi Mhlongo, you know. And I've also then been lucky enough we just had an event last week. It was a tribute concert for Babu Madala Kunene, the Dr. Madala Kunene, okade gula naye, so he wasn't feeling too well. So as artists, we decided to come together and then raise funds using our talent and our time. We're able to raise some nice money for him as well, so that was great. I've had the privilege of working with Babu Temba Mkwena, who is the lead guitarist for Babu Sukele, Sibongile Khumalo, Simpiwe Dana as well, Billy Monana. And then through Kwasuka Sukele, I've had the privilege of working with Umamugcina Mhlophe or Dr. Gcina Mhlophe. And we do a lot of work with her. I also freelance and consult at her organization, which is called Igcina Masiko Arts and Heritage Trust. She has an event annually, which is called Nozincwadi, dedicated to her grandmother. who couldn't read but who collected books.
Wow.
Yazi destiny ukuthi banjani.
Wow.
You know, so and this
Amazing.
is why she decided to do what she does and become the person that she is. So she has a festival annually in October.
Where is it?
It happens at the Storytelling Tree, which is Bluff.
Okay.
But now through collaboration, we also do it here in Maritzburg as well.
Nice.
And then we also have it traveling kwezinye indawo like Groundville and so forth, Nagostenga, depending because kwezinye isikhathi singena nakuyikole to get to the schools. So yeah.
What has been one of your most memorable live performances?
Okay, can I just say top 3?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, the first memorable experience for me was my first time performing at the Playhouse. Okay. I love the Playhouse. And for the art scene, performing at the Playhouse is like a top notch, you know. So performing there for the first time was absolutely awesome. I was so excited. It was my first time performing with a big band, you know, because their resources are a bit more flexible, so you're actually able to bring on as many people as you can. The sound was impeccable, and it also was just something where, you know, where you feel like you've reached the brim, and then there's something that just breaks that layer. So it was one of those where I felt like I'd arrived to the next to the next chapter. So I really appreciated that. My second most memorable performance was at the Drakensberg High School.
Okay.
They have a festival each year held by the Drakensberg primary school, my bad, not the high school. And it was a festival that was filled of white Bura people, you know. And here I am, and like I said, I'm proud and unapologetic.
Yes.
So I will go to a room full of them, and when I say them, I'm talking about people that don't understand our African language, which is Zulu in my case, and I will speak in Zulu, you know, and I will deliver my music in Zulu. And the way that they appreciated it was just amazing, especially because it was a full-on festival. So you know, kugcwele ground lonke begcwele, kukhona abancane kukhona abadala, you know, some of them started chanting my name, you know, from old and young, nomkhulu no. It was absolutely beautiful to see, you know.
Must have been amazing.
Exactly, because it was in that space, you know, I was the minority and it felt a bit offsetting, but it was just such a beautiful performance to be part of, And then the third one is the one that I've just come from, the Hilton Arts Festival.
Okay.
Oh, that was amazing. That was amazing. I mean, I'm an event manager or event owner myself, so I always look out to see and learn when I go to these festivals. Well-oiled machine. The way that they planned that event was impeccable. The way that it ran so smoothly, their hosting was impeccable. And what I found, or what blew me away mostly, is the fact that it was packed.
Yes.
And, you know, but the way that they were able to process izinto, you know, even at the gates, there were so many cars, but the cars weren't standing still. You'd literally move. In 5 minutes you were in. And even though there were 25 cars in front of you, you know, and also then just the crowd, the way that we were treated. And I've never been to a festival of that big a magnitude. I think it's the biggest festival that I've performed at. So I really appreciated that. And I was also quite chuffed because the reason why they called me, and I've been trying to perform there for 2 years before that. I hadn't applied 2 years since. I was told that people had put my name in a hat, so there is a bit of a demand for my music and my artistry and my performances, which is awesome.
Well, I think the more people get to know you and your name out there, then, you know, obviously people pick up, who's this, can she come, you know. And tell me, your band, you have a band, right?
Yes.
Who, like, do you give them musical sort of direction, or does everyone come up with like their own ideas and you all put it together?
My approach is very collaborative, but I'm very stern in the type of work that we put out. So sometimes we'll have arguments about, oh no, you can't perform this song, they'll be offended. And I'm like, they can't be offended by the truth. The truth is the truth. We can't sweep it under the carpet, you know, so things like that. So I'm very bold when it comes to that, but the approach is very, very collaborative.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of women empowerment, you know, how does your music, you know, empower women, or who are top of the women that you look up to?
Oh, that's a very good question. Okay, first off, my grandmother. She's my biggest hero. I mean, my grandmother was a nurse by profession, and she divorced at a time where it was taboo. You know, but she stood her ground back then, and she was actually able to just, you know, raise her family. And, you know, for the family, it wasn't as if, you know, there was a man missing in the house. She was able to actually perform those duties. So for somebody like that to be, to have so much courage and to be unapologetic, you know, is absolutely empowering for me. I also, obviously, my mother, you know, my mother's a single mother, and she just goes over and above the call of duty each and every time. I feel so privileged to work with her. I mean, I used to watch her on TV, you know, during the Yo TV days.
Yes,
the storytelling days when I was at Girls High, Pietermaritzburg Girls High in high school, and we all went berserk, you know, for Mamgina. So to now then be working with her, and she's so humble, and she's got so much wisdom to share, and she's so she's not judgmental at all. She's a true artist, and I really appreciate that, you know, because we can be crazy, we can, you know, it can be fun, we can be serious, you know. Maya Angelou. I mean, my writing obviously was highly influenced. First off, it was Shakespeare. Of course, you know. I mean, if you loved English in high school, you could not be influenced by Shakespeare. Maya Angelou is also another woman that I admire a lot. Bessie Head, which the Bessie Head Library is named after. I also love her very much. And then there are just a lot of like artists like your Lauryn Hills, your India Iries, you know, your Erykah Badu's, you know, your Nina Simone's, your Miriam Makebas, you know, there's just so many women that I admire. And I'm very biased because I love my black woman, especially those black women that are proud black women, you know, black women that speak of us embracing ourselves in a society that influences us to hate ourselves so much.
That's true.
Yeah.
And how have you found yourself as a woman, you know, in this industry, in Pietermaritzburg and business? How have you found that experience?
It's been difficult. It's been difficult. I mean, you patronize quite a bit. For me, I think it was even more difficult because when I got back from Joburg, you don't understand how much you've lost until you try to reintroduce yourself into an environment that you used to belong in, you know. I literally needed to start from scratch. Because people didn't know who I am, you know, and unfortunately we also operate in an environment that has corruption, that has nepotism, you know, where they ask you to owagabani, isbongo bani, you know, so, and some of us, you know, we don't have those names to stand by, you know, so it's quite tough, but I think once you are known as one, your work speaks for itself. You know, that's what I've tried to do. I say, for me, the biggest way that one can actually give me the higher ground is by underestimating me. Because then you're not expecting anything off me. Can you imagine then when I excel? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see you. It's been really tough, you know, but we make it either way. We stern. I mean, we leaders. I was laughing the other day at the Playhouse. We were a 7-piece band. So I was actually leading 6 grown men.
Wow.
in a band, you know, because it becomes a project from rehearsal to transportation there to everything. You literally, it's an entire project. And I think it also goes with just being humble and respecting, you know, yourself and other people. You know, I think it's important that we understand that, especially for me, because I left the corporate industry because sometimes it wasn't very palatable. Some of the people that we work with aren't so nice. Like if you had a choice, you'd like zap them out into another sphere, you know. So if once you start working for yourself, you've got the choice to work with people that you get along with.
Yeah.
You know, even in business, we say we do business with people we like.
Yes.
You know.
You do.
So now then I've got the opportunity to be able to do that. And I try as much as possible to create a conducive environment. But business cuts, it does become tough. I mean, at the moment, we're sitting with the challenge where artists haven't been paid. Because of the voting that was happening, signing of bills being approved in Parliament, signings happening, you know, all of that. And it's been so long that, you know, one is actually just, you know, it's so sad when you say that you're creating an environment for artists to be celebrated. And then because of processes and bureaucracy, you end up becoming the stumbling block towards that happening. You know, so things like that are really, really sad. But then again, you know, in business is about a risk. It's about taking risks, you know. So sometimes we take those risks, we roll with the punches, and, you know, we wipe ourselves, our tears off, we get out there with a smile. But it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
Oh. And how do you sort of keep yourself motivated through all these challenges?
Okay, self-motivation is the most difficult thing, you know, and the truth is sometimes we do wake up depressed. Sometimes we do wake up thinking, I had a plan and by this time I should have reached these strides and it hasn't happened. And you'll wallow in bed and you won't wake up that day. You'll take your sick leave because you approve it quickly. Can I take leave? Yes, true. Okay, cool. You approve your own leave, you know. But then sometimes I've got friends who I'm able to speak to who are very, very encouraging. They like my sisters. We grew up together. So it's friends that I've known like since my schooling days. They are very, very, very encouraging, you know. I've got my family as well. Sometimes what also helps is that I just get out of it completely. So instead of doing work, I'll go for a hike.
Okay.
Or I'll go for a lunch, or, you know, or I'll go to the beach, you know, just do something completely different. That also helps. Exercising works. I mean, I haven't been since it's winter, but like we need to go back to that because it really does help in terms of like boosting your mood, in terms of just, you know, getting your mental states right again. That helps me a lot. Listening to music. Sometimes I'll just like take an off day and I'll just watch movies, or I'll just watch series and just zone out, or read a book, catch up with a book, you know. What I found also helps is because sometimes I get a bit anxious, so putting my phone on silent. Okay. Or sometimes even just switching it off completely, because we get those notifications. You'll be busy something, maybe you're trying to put together a press release, you know, and you'll keep on getting those, and you end up becoming more anxious than you than you should be, instead of focusing, you know. And sometimes those notifications are going to be giving you like heart palpitations instead of, you know, changing the discourse of your day. You know, so I think it's just a matter of sometimes just, you know, really getting out there and playing your music and dancing like you're crazy. You know?
Yeah. Let loose.
Yeah. Make yourself crazy before you go crazy, because then you can get yourself uncrazy as well.
I like that.
Yeah.
And what advice would you give to people, you know, wanting to come into this creative space? What advice would you give?
First off, it's important to be genuine. I think it's very important, because if you're going to try and be a person, whether it's business, whether it's arts, if you're going to try and go into something that you're not completely passionate about, when it becomes challenging, you're going to quit. You know, you need to be able to do something that is more, that means more to you than just the materialistic things. You know, something that you know that you're going to hold on to like a dog on a bone. That's very important. I think resilience is also very important. You know, sometimes you'll look at your phone and you'll even ask people to call you because it's not ringing, you know. And that's just one of the things. You just need to roll with the punches. That also then goes with financial planning. Because if that's the case, then that means that every time you get that financial windfall, make sure that you're able to save some, you know, for tomorrow. Especially because what happens sometimes is that you'll get an opportunity, but that opportunity will need you to invest some financial resources. You know, so often I get, I run into people who tell me about my life. Put yourself out there, and especially if you're starting, please don't be somebody who says I don't do stuff for free, because then you're not going to get anywhere. In order for one to be able to get a platform, you need to get yourself out there, and we are as good as our last work.
That's true.
You know, and if the work is not being seen, then what's the point? You know, obviously you'll choose which projects you do, why and when, but just be open, you know, be open to collaborating, be open to working with people, be inquisitive, ask questions. You know, some people are want to get into the performance space, but they don't even attend the shows. They don't attend events. And, you know, then how are you going to network with people, you know, if you don't go to these events and see what's out there and see how you can plug yourself in. Yeah.
And in terms of you know, local artists, who are some of the local artists that, you know, we can see at your shows and that you kind of like say, okay, vouch for?
Oh, their number. I mean, we started Kwasuka Sukele in 2015, so we've built a family of local artists. That come top of mind is Undeterred. Undeterred is a poet.
Okay.
He was also the founder of Tree of Poetry and Kasi Vibes. Also Ustembile Gwala. She's known as Uste Itingo. She's also very, very brilliant. I'm inspired by her kakhulu because she also writes in vernac. So bala inkondlo zesiZulu, you know, and that's something that I'd like to get to. I mean, at some point, ikhona eyodwa engayibhala kodwa ibhalisa ngesinanezulu, and naleyo was inspired because my grandmother kept on saying ukuthi ay niyayenza lezi zinto zenu nisikhombisa amavidiyo niyakwetiza nje asizi ukuthi nithini, you know. And I was like, actually yes, uqinisile, you know, especially if we say that some of the work that we do as artists is healing, and healing work is umsebenzi wabantu abadala, the work of the ancestors. But then how does that make sense? Umamuno Malanga Hlubi. She's a renowned jazz artist. Oh, love her very, very, very much. There is Many More. Many More is also very, very good as well. Kukona UKD, King Diesel. There's the song that we were talking about, which is called Ngizo Bambelela. Si collaborate nayo kuyona. We shall be releasing it next month.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes,
Where, on
yes.
which platforms?
All platforms. It will be available on all platforms. We decided ukuthi njengoba nje kunyaka omusha wabantu bomdabu next month, nathi ke siyaqhakambisa ngayo leyo nyanga leyo. There's just so many. There's so many. There is Dawn Melanie, a very good friend of mine. She's a guitarist, she's a songwriter, she's a painter. She'll be curating Kwasuka Sukele. We're having it on the 15th of December this year at Greenleaf, same venue that we're going to be having the Women in Tourism event. She's going to be curating the exhibition corner as well. So she usually curates the exhibition as a splashy fan, and the stages as a splashy fan. So that's also somebody. There's just so many. Oh my gosh. Oh, and Pretty and the Music, obviously. It goes, Undivided Roots.
Okay.
Reggae band, Yases Kotini.
Okay.
It's a Rastafarian family. Nje bakhula vele bewumculo nobabwabo baziwa ngoPeter Tosh ngaleso sikhathi ube umculi vele waseMaritzburg. So that's also quite a great band as well. Name Africa. Africa is also another jazz band. There's so many. I'll just keep on going on and on. Oh, and DJs obviously Kono Fluid, Kukono Timani, Kukono Tribe of Afro. Oh gosh, no. Yeah.
There's a lot.
There's a
Okay.
lot. Yeah.
And-
Or to the car Unziga, who was also part of Isiodla. He's also quite a great DJ as well. To the car. He also runs a hip hop movement, which was Maritzburg versus Kasi movement Lega Gazagwe, where they were doing
okay.
this hip hop competitions.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yes.
And in terms of the future, what future can we expect from Pretty and the Music and Hot Toffee and Kwasuka Sukele?
Well, I'm really hoping Guguti the music can take its course. I'm really hoping Guguti one day soon Kwasuka Sukele izoba sothi sibukele movie thizeni mase kudlala umculo wayo yabona Pretty and the Music. I'm really hoping Guguti at some point an advert, endorsements like that, and I'm really hoping to then travel South Africa, the world. I look up kakhulu to Uthandiswa Mazwai, Nonduduzo Makhathini, and what they were able to do pre-COVID. Spend 2 weeks in New York, 2 weeks in South Africa, because that's how much of a demand that they had. You know, Ubongiziwe Mabandla, now he's doing very, very well, touring Germany back to back. So that's also the type of work that I would like to do. You know, I would like to be able to get to that level where I don't compromise on my work. And I'd also like to get to a point where my original music is so much that ukuthi mangenze repertoire yonke nje ngenze my original music mhlawumbe amacover kube 1-2, you know, so changing the dynamics of the music as far as that's concerned. As far as Hot Toffee Communications concerned, I'm really hoping ukuthi nayo it's able to propel, you know, and get more clients and, you know, be able to, because my thing and the reason why I started Hot Toffee Communications is because we've got so much talent, you know, and the pie is big enough for all of us to eat. So I'm trying to start a collective where we can amends the pie. All piece that we can all get, you know. So Hot Toffee Communications, for it to be able to do that, you know, through works like Nomalungelo, no Kwasuka Sukele, it's already gotten to that, but I'm hoping to do it on a bigger scale. You know, I'm hoping to Kwasuka Sukele yakwazi ukuthi iqale travelisha to continentally, to your Rwandas, to your Moroccos, you know, telling the work, because we take on the talent. You know, as much as I'm passionate about Pretty and the Music, which I absolutely am, I'm passionate about the collective Sibaningi, because we've got so much to offer.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
And just to kind of close us off now, where can we find you? How do we find out about these amazing events that are coming up?
Okay, I've got a page called Hot Toffee Communications. I've also got a page called Pretty and the Music and Pretty Olifant. So on those platforms, I share all the information that we have. We also have an office, which is Umsunduzi Pietermaritzburg Tourism Association, which I am the deputy chairperson of, on a voluntary basis, just looking out for the city and wanting to promote the city. It's in Publicity House in Pietermaritzburg. So information is also always available there on a walk-in basis. There is also a SMS which is called What's Happening in Pietermaritzburg, which we run through the office.
Okay.
So we also disseminate information there. So even if people have events that they'd like to register, they can do that. And if they'd like to get onto the database so that they know events that are happening in and around, they can definitely do that.
Do you have the number?
I don't, but it is Pietermaritzburg Tourism. If they look on the social media platforms, under Pietermaritzburg Tourism, they should find it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming onto the Unintentional Podcast, just sharing your journey, and it was just so amazing just to hear, you know, from a black woman, and you're doing so much for the community and everything. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me here.
Okay, it's a pleasure. And hopefully, you know, we can also collaborate in things in the future as well.
I would love that very, very much.
Okay.
All right. And all the best with the podcast.
Thank you so much.
You guys are doing great work.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching the Unintentional Podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to catch us on all social media at Unintentional Podcast, and always stay blessed. So I guess I'm a relationship person.
But don't go jumping into relationships now. I mean, like,
No, of course not.
Get to
I
know
have
a person
I
first.
have to evaluate. No, I think that's very important. I think for me, this has taught me a lot as well. I think for going forward, I would like to have a dating space because I feel like in my past I've just jumped into relationships. And if you have any questions, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, let me ask the usual question.
Sure, go ahead.
Are you guys secretly dating?
Yes, I'm joking. I'm joking. No. It's a good one though. No, we're not.